I don't. I don't get it. I don't understand it all. I've tried, but I don't. I don't understand it. Jason Inman here with the movie mix, and we're going to talk He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the 2026 movie that they are working on currently. Now, we have discussed this a few times here on the show. You know, we know the cast now, and I was already a little hesitant about Nicholas Galitzine as our He-Man / Prince Adam. He's not a big dude, but I know they've been bulking him up, and, you know, there's always potential for that to work out. Look, I'm actually totally into Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms. I don't care to hear the hate out there. It really doesn't matter. He's a great actor and will fit the role well. Camila Mendez as Tila, that works fine for me as well. She looks great. I think she'll do a good job in the part. Alison Brie coming in as Eva Lynn. I think this is kind of a really good, I think this is good casting. And for as much as I don't like Jared Leto, I actually think he fits the role of Skeletor, and it might actually work out for him for once. Normally, I'm not a big fan of him as an actor. There have been a few one-offs, but mostly not a fan. With all of this being said, we'd sort of heard that leaked plot synopsis that just didn't really make sense. I thought it was a bad idea right from the get-go with this whole Prince Adam being on Earth as a kid and finding the Sword of Power and then being swooped off to Eternia. Like, I've always thought that sounded like a really bad idea. You should just set the movie on Eternia, which is where it should be set in the first place. But, if they would have done that quickly and given it a little bit of like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of the beginning of that where he's on Earth and then we just move ahead real quick, it might have worked. It could have been okay. It's not a retcon I would have shoved in there. There's just no sense in it, no point behind it. But I was okay, I think, with the general idea, maybe. It's what we're hearing now. It's what we're hearing now that really has me kind of cringing a little bit and not so happy. All right, first things first. The problem I already have is that it's not just like he's going to get the sword, realize he's from Eternia. No. They're pretty much suggesting that he's going to have to learn how to be He-Man in order to defeat Skeletor. I just don't feel like we need this. We know enough of this backstory at this point, the real, actual backstory, that shoving this in doesn't seem necessary at all to me. But okay, they're doing it, whatever. There are some pluses, the fact that we know they're bringing Triclops and Trapjaw into this is a really cool idea, assuming they do them well and they look good. That's kind of cool. We know Beastman will probably be in this, and again, if they do them right and make them look cool, that's all a plus, and we're down for that stuff. It's this quote we have from Nicholas Galitzine that's really bugging me, and I'm going to read this to you. He says, "Look, what I will say is that our version is quite different from the original animation, which we all agree was camp within its own right and worked so well for the time. But there's been a couple of iterations, obviously, since there was the Revolution version of Masters of the Universe and the comics themselves." All right, so let's talk about those comics for just a second. They came out prior to the cartoon, but just barely. And they actually portrayed He-Man as a jungle barbarian-type hero. It also portrayed Eternia as a much more advanced civilization that had at some point been hit by a huge global catastrophe. That's why we would see like some more modern type, laser guns and vehicles around. Now, Filmation got a hold of it and changed the storyline to the whole Prince Adam using the sword to become He-Man and protect Eternia. They toned it down quite a bit for kids. Now, personally, I feel the new film should lean more towards that direction, more towards sword and loincloth than family-friendly. Still, what I can say is neither version, the comic book or the original cartoon, started on Earth. While I understand there have been other iterations, and most of them I've actually liked most of them, they still kept some very key components to the Masters of the Universe story in there. And the one that really veered off, the one in outer space, just didn't work. So what we're saying here is I understand this need for writers to do something original, but originality should exist within other aspects. Not you don't take away from the story proper. You don't take away from the parts that we all grew up to love. All right, so he goes on to say, we are very much treating our script as a Bible, but it's kind of amazing to hear what this show meant to a lot of people. It was really formative for a lot of people, so it's exciting to do something that will have a nostalgia element as well as hopefully attracting a bunch of new fans. There's always a want. When you are making a film, of course you want to pull in new fans, but for a property, this is where they keep misstepping. For a property as huge as Masters of the Universe was, you already have a large fan base. And those fans are going to bring their kids. They're going to bring their friends. They're going to bring people to enjoy what they love. You're screwing this up when your thought is, I can change this to gear it towards a whole new generation of fans, because what you're doing is alienating the huge base of fans you already have, and these new fans, they know it was a thing but they might not be that excited about it. Like, this isn't the thing they grew up with, so someone needs to introduce them to it. Cartoons for kids today aren't what they were for my generation, so kids aren't sitting around watching cartoons like that anymore. They're just not doing it. You don't have your G.I. Joes, your Transformers, your Mask, and your He-Mans anymore. And it was the cartoons that drew us in, and it was everything else after that we followed. We even went and saw that bad movie, the one from like 87. We saw that. We were excited. We hoped it would be good. It wasn't. And I think the fear here is now we're going to get another bad movie. Well, it may not even be bad. It's just not going to be a He-Man movie. And that is instantly going to turn people away. When they come wanting to see a He-Man movie, and then they realize this is not the He-Man story I know, they're going to be turned away. Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did the same exact thing. You don't veer from the story, the part of the story that works. You keep that part intact. We had a cool backstory for these turtles. Why he decided to change it, make them giant, bulletproof superheroes that were taught from a book that was found in the sewer to be like, none of that made sense. And he just didn't have to do it. There was already a cool story that existed. Actually, there were already two versions. That's the thing. The comic books based on the TV cartoon were already slightly different, but that was a difference that worked. You have young people reading them. Now we want to get kids involved, but we know we need to keep certain aspects to draw the fans in. Also, the first Turtle movie, it did a great job. Actually, it did a wonderful job of incorporating the comic books into the cartoon in a way that they really understood the assignment. They knew what they were doing for that film. What I think is happening is you're getting these executives who just think, well, this property made millions and millions of dollars back then. Let's do it again. And they're just not figuring out the part that had us all enthralled, and they're missing that. The first Transformer film was, in my opinion, a good movie. It was fun. Bumblebee was fun. I will say that Travis Knight, the guy who's directing this, is the same guy who directed Bumblebee, which is a plus. Bumblebee was one of the better Transformer offerings, in my opinion. But most of the Transformer movies, besides the first one and Bumblebee, have just really fallen off. Yeah, it's cool to see giant fighting robots, but that's not enough to sustain us. We want story as well, and we want the proper story. Quit screwing it up. Quit giving us some version that you think is better when the fans, we're not going to be excited about it. We want our story. Just modernize it, update it, keep the core. Anyway, guys, I am not one to typically get on here and bash. I could be totally wrong. This movie could come out and be completely badass. I hope it is. Let's be honest. I really hope that it is. But I have a feeling that even if it's a decent movie, like those of us who are really going, we're finally going to get a Masters of the Universe film, we're going to be let down. And I'm also hearing things about Voltron where they're going to make a wholly original story as well. And I'm like, it just start at the beginning, guys. Start at the beginning that we know and love. Modernize it, bring it to a new audience, but keep what makes it the story that it is. I don't know. You guys can let me know your thoughts. Maybe you vehemently disagree with me. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to hold out hope that it'll actually be a good movie. but things aren't sounding great, is all I'm saying. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hey, really appreciate each and every one of you. Please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It helps a ton. I've watched this channel grow in the last 6 or 7 months, and it's been really amazing. I thank every one of you. And until next time, guys, stay awesome.